A few years ago, I was searching around a lake near my home, and in the space of just a few minutes, I found three very heavily pregnant rainbow water snakes. Now, I've found them around this lake many times before, and unfortunately, I've often also found them dead around the lake. They like to come out onto the road at night, and they're a slow-moving species and often get killed by cars and motorbikes. So on this occasion, I decided to collect all three of them. I took them home and put them in a pond in my garden, and within just a couple of days, each of them had given birth to 20 or more miniature replicas of themselves. And immediately, those newborn snakes started to hunt for fish. There are plenty of little guppies in this pond, and they're just the right size for a snake of this size. And as you can see, they're having quite a tussle over some of these fish. One of the snakes has caught this one and hasn't managed to get it swallowed down before attracting the interest of several others. And you can see the result. These rainbow water snakes are found in the Indian subcontinent and neighbouring countries, as well as being widespread through Southeast Asia. Very common in Thailand. I come across them frequently. Here we can see 3 or 4 snakes, I think, trying to get this fish. Of course, these snakes are reptiles, so they will need to come up to breathe at some point. They can't stay down there indefinitely. So presumably one or other of them will give up on this struggle. We see them wiggling and occasionally twisting the body as well, reminiscent of a king cobra. Now, the lower snake there managed to get away with that fish. But that has now left a horrible situation where 2 of the others are actually biting themselves, or at least one of them is biting the other. Of course, it has no idea probably what it's got in its mouth. They just get the smell of the fish and they go into hunting mode. They're twisting away. Okay, and they've managed to get themselves separated. Thank goodness for that. And there we are. Comes up for a breath of air, using the tongue, both under the water and above, for picking up scent. Here's one of the mothers. And there we can see all 3 of them. I've given the mothers much larger fish, fed them separately, and as soon as all of these youngsters have had a good feed, I will be taking all of the snakes back to the lake, putting them into the wild where they belong. Look at this gang down this end of the pond. They've all clustered down one end, and well, woe betide any fish that comes down to this part of the pond. Here we can see that these fish clearly are aware of this snake. They're giving it a little bit of a wide berth, although they're not terribly distressed about it. I think they're aware in a straight swim that they would have the advantage. This is more like the technique here that I've seen the snakes practicing, having their back end tucked into some rocks so that the front end is quick to strike out from there. And here this little one has caught a fish, and look how fast it can get it down when it's not being molested by other snakes. And it already had the fish at the head end. Of course, that helps. Another tussle going on. We can see the lovely lines on the sides and the The belly of these snakes now that give the name rainbow water snake. Lovely orange lines on the flanks. My goodness, this is really quite a tussle here. Oh, and I think the fish has actually broken there by the looks of things. One of them made off with most of it, but this one clearly got something, and that's also attracting another snake. I hope that doesn't try to get in the mouth after it. No, all right. Seems to have been able to swallow that little bit that it was left with. Here we see a terrible melee going on here. I can't even quite tell how many snakes there are in there, possibly four, twisted around one another. They won't be able to keep this going forever because of the need to come up to breathe. Okay, well, it looks like one of them has made off with the fish now, but what it's left is a very, very unpleasant situation here where the head of one of the snakes has now found its way completely inside the mouth of one of the others. That snake, I don't think, is actually deliberately trying to eat the other snake. It's just got something in its mouth, thinks it's a fish, and it's just going to keep swallowing until it gets it inside. If this was a fully natural situation that I'd come across in the wild, I would probably just let this continue and see what happened. But since this is in my garden and I feel some responsibility for this situation, I'm going to intervene here. And I actually, shortly after this, I stopped filming. And I'm sure you'll be very happy to learn that both snakes were fine. Incredibly, because one of them is now quite far down inside the other snake, but managed to come out and was absolutely fine. Again, one of the mother snakes, little eyes. All three of them here, in fact. Length of around about 50 centimeters. That's the typical full-grown length of an adult. The scientific name or binomial name of this species is Enhydris enhydris. They are typically known as rainbow water snakes, but I've also seen them referred to as rainbow mud snakes. And of course, it's that kind of thing that makes the binomial name so important, because that will be regular throughout the world. This snake has managed to get this whole fish down without being interfered with by any of the other snakes. But there's a real old battle going on here. How many have we got? Three. Yep, three snakes. One at the head end, one in the middle, one on the tail. At least they're not biting each other. That's a decent sized fish for the victor here. Now, what I wanted, of course, was to actually get a shot of a fish being caught. And there we are. At last, after several hours, I managed to get it. And that snake has just wriggled away immediately to a little sheltered spot, got the fish down among the pebbles where it can push against those pebbles or against the sand on the bottom. And look at that, it's got this fish down already. Very, very fast, and already interested in another.